Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm doing these questions and answers for DevOps and SRE interviews. We're at question number 179 today. Uh, the purpose of these videos is for you to be ready for any DevOps SRE roles that you apply for. If you get an interview, you feel confident going in that you've covered as much as possible on various important topics and subtopics so that you feel ready to face the interviewer when you do have an interview. That's why I make these videos. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe. There's nothing for you, but it's actually a real difference maker in my channel. So I really would appreciate if you did that. As you might know from my previous videos, I did some research based on LinkedIn job descriptions, 35 of them, and I came up with 15 most important topics for DevOps and SRE interviews. The ones at the top, like cloud and AWS, are more important than the ones at the bottom, like system design. So if you're preparing for DevOps and SRE interviews, you should be focusing on these 15 topics. However, you should be spending a lot more time at the top 5 or 6 of them than you would on the top 5 or on the bottom 5 or 6 of them. That would be a good strategy to go forward with. Today we're at topic number 11, Kubernetes. Now, I don't know why Kubernetes came at number 11. Really, it should be top 5 easily, based on my experience and based on my intuition. But data from these 35 job descriptions came out to show that Kubernetes is number 11, but it is what it is. The question today is pretty simple. How do you scale Kubernetes? The question is so broad. The interviewer is looking for your knowledge about different layers of Kubernetes so that you address all 3 layers of Kubernetes infrastructure. So notice that he or she is not telling you about the layers. He or she is just throwing out the question in a broad sense. He or she is expecting you to cover the 3 layers that I'm going to talk about in a second. Okay. You can read this slide for yourself. This is my career advisor. Please take advantage of his free 1-hour session because he is very, very passionate, and he's helped maybe over 100 people already who didn't have job but it finally ended up getting after getting his help. Okay, now there are 3 layers for Kubernetes infrastructure. There are the nodes that make up the clusters, right? And if you're using some kind of auto cluster setup in GKE or Amazon for that matter, they all provide auto scaling at that level, right? So that's letter C here, right? So you don't have to do it yourself if you go with if you go with the auto scaling of the cluster itself. Now for pods, you can do a horizontal scaling or you can do a vertical scaling or both. Both of these are actually configurable items in Kubernetes through your YAML file. So if you want to scale your pods horizontally, meaning you scale up more pods as you need them, you use something called HPA, horizontal pod autoscaler. Now, if you want your pods to die down and come back with more resources like CPU and RAM because you need them that way, you can also use VPA for that. And again, just like HPA, it stands for Virtual Pod Autoscaler. Again, it's a configurable item through your YAML files in Kubernetes. So here are the 3 layers that you can use. You should be addressing if you're asked about scaling up your Kubernetes infrastructure. There's also an open source tool called Cluster Autoscaler. You can use that if you're using your own nodes as cluster, when you are not actually letting GKE or EKS or AWS manage your node levels, manage your nodes that make up the cluster, right? If you're doing that level of management yourself, which I don't recommend, then you can use this open source tool to manage auto scaling of those virtual machines that make up the Kubernetes cluster. Okay, I hope you found this useful. If you have particular questions, you're welcome to find me on LinkedIn and send me a question, or you can leave a comment down below. All right, I will see you next time.